We're going to call the special city council meeting to order. I do have just some general guidelines concerning the what we'll call town hall meeting. It will begin at 6:30, which it is right now. To speak, please raise your hand or signal to Devin if you're virtual that you'd like to speak. Please wait until you're called on to do so. Please limit your time. We're not going to say a certain number of minutes. Just be cognizant of others if there are other people who want to talk so that everybody gets a chance. Obviously, in this first meeting, I don't think we're going to be fighting over the time, but just be aware of that. Please be respectful. Please provide supporting evidence if you have specific concerns. The council and the mayor will engage in discussion with you regarding your desired topic. If you recognize a problem, please suggest a solution. Doesn't mean that we can do it, but we'd like to hear what your thoughts are as to what a solution might be. At 6:55, we will end the town hall meeting, and then we will have our invocation and gavel our 7 o'clock council meeting. So if you're just entering virtually for this section, we'll be done at 6:55. So we are open for anyone who has something they'd like to talk about. Devin.
Can we do an official roll call to identify this meeting before we begin?
Yes, please, go ahead and do that.
Craig Elliott, Mindy Galbavie,
Here?
Adam Grass, Larry Lambert,
Here.
Bob Porter, Terry Wood. This meeting does not have a quorum, but can continue for discussion. I'm sorry, Adam Grass?
Yes. Here.
This meeting still does not have a quorum, but can continue with just discussion.
And that's the intention of this meeting, is for discussion. We don't intend to take any votes or pass any ordinances. It's simply a time for discussion. So we're good to go. Who would like to go first?
I do not see anybody raising their hand. If somebody would like to speak, you could unmute yourself also and let me know I can hear you.
I'll take a shot at it.
And
who is that?
Tom Wilson.
Hi, Tom
Hi,
Wilson.
Tom Wilson.
Nice to
Nice
hear
to hear your voice.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Am I
Yeah.
coming?
Yeah?
Am I coming through okay? I'm getting a lot of echo back from you.
I'm going to mute the mayor because she's going through her phone and through the camera.
I see. Okay.
I can mute.
I can mute me.
Okay. There. Yep, I'm now muted. Is that better?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. You're all set.
So my comments have to do with the policy that was adopted by council, at least going back to Steve Daunt, which is over 20 years ago. And that policy is that whenever a citizen speaks to the council is instructed not to respond in any way. That may be necessary in a big city, but in a small town like Perry, there should be an opportunity to have dialogue with the council members. And that has just not been allowed for, as I said, over 20 years. And it's been taken even to extremes. An example of that is back when we were talking about the McQueen House, a woman asked the council about watering the flowers at the McQueen House, and she got absolutely no response. I mean, that's not a controversial request. All they needed was some water for the flowers. So I hope that we will be able to, going forward, take a look at that policy and start to have dialogue between the council and the citizens, so that we can make some progress on the issues that are facing our community. I'm done.
I'm going to ask each of the council members to maybe give us their off-the-cuff feeling on that. Larry, can we start with you?
As I'm unmuted here. Are you able to hear me at this point?
You can hear through there. It will echo if you unmute yourself. You're getting caught through the camera. So just speak strongly through there.
Okay,
And then use this to listen to them if they talk back to you.
got it.
So everybody should be muted on the phone and be talking to the camera.
I would tend to agree with you, Tom. Within reason, we have to make certain that we don't get into a big controversial discussion during a council meeting. But if there's some quick dialogue that can be had to answer a question or to at least give some preliminary response, or that we'll take a topic under further advisement, I'm solely in support of that. Once again, being mindful of time and respectful of everyone that's in the room or on our Zoom activity.
How about you, Mindy?
I absolutely agree with Tom. I feel it gives a very poor message for simple things like this woman wanting to water flowers at the McQueen House. She was left kind of appalled, feeling like she'd just been dismissed, and I don't think we want that for our people. And I do think that if things got out of hand, that's what the mayor has a gavel for. And, you know, we have things established so that if things get disruptive, then it's taken care of. But I think we should be able to answer people and address their concerns.
Adam, would you like to comment on that?
I did not get signed in to hear anything that was said, so I'll refrain.
Joanne Belting's here. Joanne, do you have any comment about that? We'll make this so everybody express it.
What was the
Tom-
comment that was made?
Tom Wilson indicated that there's a policy that restricts the council from having discussion with
Right.
public.
So
Who
when people bring something to the council, they have time to explain whatever, they have 3 minutes, and then the council does not respond to them, if that's my
And that's
understanding
the
of how it works.
policy, that's the policy he's talking about.
Well, the question I have is, what are we discussing that for? This is a special meeting in regards to the report of the resident asking about that radio meter.
No, that's not.
That was a mistake on
that's a
my part,
mistake,
Adam.
That doesn't
It's
have
just
anything to do with
it's just concerns from the public. I
This is just
apologize.
a town hall meeting,
Okay,
so.
And
I agree with Tom.
Yeah,
that
Tom
there should be
says
some
that
back
it
and
would be
forth.
nice to have discussion.
Yeah, there should be back and forth. At least when the people leave, they should have some idea if the council's gonna even move forward, recognize what they're saying, or, you know, give them options. or, you know, can put it to a meeting, but yes, I think that there should be some back and forth. So like I said, it's up to the mayor to judge if it's getting out of hand. They don't want full-blown arguments about you did this and you did that, and, you know. That's what I think was, they were trying to get away from, but I don't see that as a problem anymore.
Devin, do you have any insight? Were you here then? When that was,
I wasn't here through Don, I was here through, Mayor DeLu and, Mayor Huglet. And so I've seen where conversation has gotten out of hand and I've seen where it's been controlled. I've seen both. In my opinion, there should be acknowledgement from council on a subject to the public. But if it is a discussion that could actually be considered or put on it, you could help resolve it by council could bring it to any other business and make it an actual subject of business underneath there. But I don't think that there should be silence and no discussion at all. You could acknowledge it, and a council or mayor could say, this is a subject that would council prefer to just bring it to any other business to have a little bit more, you know, and then invite them to say, can you stay longer? And if not, you know, that's where the communication would start. Then you wouldn't make your public comment too long, because you think about it, if you have public comment, if you have 7 people on your, you know, counting your mayor that all have conversation, that one subject could be a lot. So that way you're not ignoring it, you're acknowledging it, and somebody could stand up as your council or mayor and keep business going, but they would be acknowledged. I mean, if it's a short answer, then it's done and you could acknowledge it.
yeah. And if they do want to stay and discuss it further under any other business, and it still seems to need more detailed attention, then we could assign it to a standing committee or do no action on it, but bring it back on the agenda at the next meeting, because I could see that as a possible avenue for people to get something into the agenda of the meeting without being on the agenda, you know, if it was something that needed. Bob, we're entertaining a idea. Tom Wilson is joined us virtually,
Okay,
and Bob Porter just came in, Tom.
I was just gonna call in the Zoom.
And he has expressed that he would like council to reconsider the policy that requires that during the council meeting and during the public comment time, that the council not engage in discussion with the public when they bring something up. That he would like to see.
The open exchange,
Yeah,
not just the one-sided.
correct. So we're just getting council's thoughts on that too.
Well, Bob's getting signed in there. One thing I will say that, and I certainly don't have any problem talking with folks, but there's 2 things that should gotta be considered in the midst of that. One, and I want to be cautious how I say this, because I don't want to be misperceived, but there's a certain level of things that we have to get through in the night. And it is a meeting of the city council. It is not a meeting of the city council with the public. Now, what I mean by that is not that you don't have engagement with the public, is what I mean is on every issue we're talking about, we're not going to be arguing back and forth with the public on the issue. Because if we do that, you're not going to get anything done. And I would encourage all of us to watch other city council meetings as well. And I'm not saying I'm opposed to this, I'm just saying these are things to think through. Now, this is the other side of it. I'm playing the negative side of this. The negative side of this as well, if you have back and forth, then you have to consider your time limit, because you're going to run over 3 minutes. And how long do you guys want to sit here? I mean, most of us are doing essentially on a volunteer basis. So sitting here for 3 or 4 hours of an evening, that takes up a lot of time. Now, for some of us it may not bother so much, but others of us that's quite a bit of time. So I think all those things have to be considered, and remember that you have to march through business. And so having a debate with the public about it, there's a place for that. The question is that inside a regularly scheduled meeting. I think this is the context.
Yeah, and I think what Tom referred to was something that occurred when Mayor Daunt was here. And that was that a lady who attended the meeting and asked council if it was okay if she watered the flowers at the McQueen house. And they would not answer her because they weren't allowed to engage with the public. Now, that's taking it to the extreme, in my opinion.
Well, I think it is too, and I think this is in our rules, this is in the council rules of operating stuff, so I mean, you know, that's what we agreed to operate by, that could be easily changed, that's not a big deal, but.
And that's what Tom's saying, that, you know,
That is a bit extreme, but I think in essence too, we've had a little bit of back and forth, and again, I'm not against the back and forth, but I am against sitting here for an hour debating one issue with one residence. You know, that we will be productive if we do that.
well, I do like the idea that Devin mentioned, that if it does seem to be something that is gonna need more than just a few minutes, you know, a yes answer, no answer, we'll see answer, of asking them if it's something that needs to be discussed tonight, can we move it to other business? And still though, if it is gonna be ongoing, I think I have the authority to just say we're gonna have to move that to next month's meeting. I believe.
I think you can too, and of course, all the council has the ability to call order or, call for a point of order, which would, cause things to shift. And certainly you can, I think the other thing that you have to watch, which I've heard, and I don't know, again, I haven't researched the legality of it, but there is something to do with balance of time, and so you have to make sure that you have the quality of time with this. If you have somebody get up at one issue and they talk for 25 minutes because council's engaging,
Right.
and then the next guy you shut down after 5 minutes, well, that could be a problem too. So all those things are just things to be considered. It's not anti that, it's just that's what it is.
I don't think the debate is the 3 minutes. I think the debate is there's no answer from your council or mayor.
I realize that, but if you're going to turn a 3-minute comment into a 10-minute debate,
Well, and
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah, and I'm just saying that I believe the mayor has the authority to control that. Larry, I see you've got your hand up. What?
I just think at a minimum, we owe it to anyone that comes in to say that we caught the item, whether we can deal with it right on the spot or not, but we did respond to the point that we understand their concern. And if we can't take immediate action, here's what we're going to do next. I think we owe it to somebody that comes in with a question, an issue.
Yes, I like that idea, to be able to tell them, these are our thoughts immediately, briefly, but it needs more attention than that. How would you feel about us just doing this? Get back with you, so on and so on. Like when Mr. Coffey brought to our attention the question that he had concerning his water bill. We didn't take a lot of time with that, but we did get back with him. We engaged with him. And we did that. Bob, did you have more to say about that?
I tend to lean towards what Adam's saying is, you have to keep a time limit for sure. And I think it would be an individual person that, if it deserves, or not deserves, that's the wrong word. Is it necessary to respond to what they're saying at that moment? Or is it a bigger thing? Because not everybody that comes to council wants to respond.
Right.
I've been to this council, for the last year and a half, but my other community, when I went to a few of those, you did not get a back and forth. It was one-sided. You could speak your piece and then that was it.
That's usually the way it is.
Tom, do you have anything further that you'd like to share with us about now that you've heard comments?
I agree with much of what you're saying. I certainly recognize that the council has city business that has to be addressed, and sitting there for 4 hours is not desirable. I think that at least for myself and some others I know of have been discouraged from coming to council meetings because we've just felt like we've been blown off. So some type of addressing and saying, as Devin said, later in the meeting or at another meeting, just recognizing that, yes, we've heard you and we'll give this our serious consideration is is a big step forward. And I certainly understand the limited time of an actual council meeting, and something like what you've done tonight outside of the official council meeting may be the way to address this concern.
Well, I think we have a consensus with the 4 council that are here, that there is room for improvement.
Certainly, I mean, with what I just heard Tom say, I don't think anybody can debate with that. There's no question. That should always be the goal of this council. And the question is just how do you accomplish it? That's really the question. How do you accomplish that? The goal there is certainly mutually felt.
Well, we also don't want to discourage anybody from coming here feeling that their concerns are not heard, because they can't have a back and forth. At least get your concerns in front of council, because maybe we're unaware of the issue. The only way to get the issue in front of us is to come, unless they email us directly or whatever, but that's the best way to come to the meeting and tell us what their issues are.
Devin, could you help me know what the procedure is for changing policy? Can that just be something that comes from the mayor to change that policy, or does it get a vote of the council?
It's council rules of procedure that we're addressing tonight, and so that would go in front of council. It would be a simple amendment, and it could be taken care of in one meeting.
Since we have a quorum now, let me just ask, do all of you concur that you would like to do that at our next meeting, put it on the agenda, and have council bring that to a vote to change that policy?
We can have more discussion.
Or at
next
least
council,
have more
yeah.
discussion. And we could certainly go into detail, like for this town hall, some of you didn't hear this, but before we started, I just put some guidelines down, that at what time it would start, you'd be invited to speak, and you shouldn't speak until that time. Limit your time to allow others to speak, be respectful, provide supporting evidence if you have concerns. The council and mayor will engage in discussion, just like we're doing with you regarding your desired topic. If you recognize a problem, please suggest a solution, and knowing that this town hall meeting will always end at 6:55. So with guidelines for our policy, I think we could at least allow brief interaction. But we can talk about it some more.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just keeping the original comment to 3 minutes, and then, as the council engages and solicits more, that's okay.
Okay.
But I would, there's got to be a balance there, but I think the goal should be to capture what I'm talking about. There's no question.
Yeah, even to just acknowledge the concern.
Sure.
That someone has, that, I think that make a big difference.
Well, Tom, we're gonna bring that back to council at the next meeting, and change the policy so at least there is some response and acknowledgement of their concern from the council. So thank you for bringing that to us. We appreciate that.
Yes.
You're welcome, and thank you for listening.
We're going to now bring our town hall meeting to a close as it is 6:55. So the town hall meeting is adjourned.
Almost a lifelong resident here, but the church I serve is just south of M43. And we have our monthly meeting tonight too, so I can't stay, I gotta jet to that, but thank you for the chance to give these invitations.
Thank you.
Father, we thank you. I thank you for the privilege to pray and cast our cares upon you. And you tell us to pray for kings and for all who are in authority. So I want to do that tonight. I want to pray for these council members and for Mayor Sue. I ask that as these discussions and policy amendments and things they talk about would be done in the right manner, and the right decisions would be reached. We want to have a peaceable and orderly life. And I thank you for this city, Lord, those who lead it, those who protect it, God, those who govern it. Thank you. We ask for your blessing on our town and our lives and our families. In Jesus' name I ask. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Nate.
Thank you. Thank you for your work, council.
Have a good meeting yourself. Do we have anybody joining us virtually?
Well, I have 5 phone numbers in, so I assume it's just you guys.
Okay. It's now 7 o'clock, so we'll call the Cary City Council meeting to order and have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Devin, could you do the roll call for us, please?
Craig Elliott, Mindy Galbavy,
Here.
Adam Graff,
Here.
Larry Lambert,
Here.
Bob Porter,
Here.
Terry Wood, Mayor Susan Hammond.
Here.
All is accounted for except council members Craig Elliott and Terry Wood.
So we'll move on to approval of the agenda.
Move that the agenda be adopted as printed.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor with aye.
Aye.
And then the reading and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I move that we suspend the rules, waive the reading, and approve the minutes from the February 4th, 2021 regular meeting.
Second.
We have motion and second regarding waiving the reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So to pre-approve reports and presentations. I really don't think we have any to come before council. So if anybody has something they think we need to bring, Devin, are you aware of anything we need to?
No, I keep that on just so
Yeah.
mayor and council knows that. So if for some chance Mr. Plowman would show up,
Okay.
it would be somebody like that that represents the city that would do a report for us. So it's left on even if we don't
Okay.
have some, we know ahead of time.
Good. All right, then we will move into public comment. We've just had our first town hall, and I thought that went well. But do we have any public comment from our esteemed gallery?
We just did.
No.
So no public comment, and now we'll go to communications with Devin.
We have one person that just came in, so
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Okay. We have a person who came in virtually. Devin's going to check.
So we just had one person come on virtually and public comment is available. If you are here for public comment, you can unmute so that council can hear you. I do not see them raising their hand or unmuting, so I assume you're good on public
All
comment.
right. So we'll move past public comment to communications. Devin, do you have some communications for us?
I have just one. Council and Mayor, Mayor received this communication. Council is receiving it just tonight. You got a hard copy of it. And it's regarding to the Greater Langsburg Recyclers. They just got approved of a grant from the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, EAGLE as they are called. And what they are ready to do is they're going to host a community meeting by Zoom on Wednesday, February 24th, to provide an update and their next steps as they move forward to develop a community-owned recycling and waste reduction center. The mayor has requested that this opportunity be available to our community. If you go under our website, you can jump on their Zoom meeting and the information is there. They also gave a letter to the mayor, and that is also attached on our website for the public if they want to read about the Greater Langsburg Recyclers. And that's all I have for communication tonight.
Thank you very much. Do we want to share with council anything concerning Dory?
She's private, I don't know.
Okay.
I would want her permission.
All right, we'll just pass on that. So I don't have any reports for us tonight. Do we have any committee reports from any of our standing committees?
Yes, we, as the Finance Ordinance Committee's been working on taking a look at the moratorium we've had on signs. And so we've had a couple meetings with that, and Larry, thankful to our councilman and fellow member of the committee for working on the adjustments to some of these ordinances, which I believe you have got in the packet. I believe you got, Devin emailed that. Is that correct, Devin? I know I got a copy of it, but I make sure it's not because I'm part of the committee. So you should have that. You'll have a chance to look at that, look that over. This will still have to go to the city attorney. Once they take a look at it, and it'll get back out here for council to approve. So that's kind of what we'll be proposing. So go ahead and give you some time to look at it and get your thoughts on it and go from there. That's all I have for that.
Thank you. I know that was a lot of time. Thank all of you for all you did there.
Okay,
And, go ahead.
sorry, so just a quick update. The Business Affairs and Technology Committee did have a short meeting last week. And you also received a copy of quick minutes from that and a draft outline that we're going to start through with some steps in terms of how do we get at improving communications within the city. One of those is going to be working with our current website, and that's already somewhat begun a little bit within the city staff to see what we can do to clean up and streamline our current website. And as you'll see in the attached, after those steps are complete, we'll reevaluate what the next steps might be, if any further action is needed with our website, as well as additional discussion on how we can, for those that aren't accustomed to using the website, what we can do with a newsletter or other means of communication within the community to, once again, strengthen our link with the community.
Very good. Thank you for that. Any other committee reports?
Mr. Porter, do you want to remind people?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to remind people of your meeting?
Yes, we have a parks meeting on Tuesday, next Tuesday, a week from, which is the 23rd. I can't remember the date. Anyway, at 6:30 PM up here at the third floor of the council, city building. First meeting is to go over some ideas and stuff like that, so everyone is welcome. Bring your ideas and concerns that we need for our parks and property.
Very good. Let's move on then to presentation and approval of the bills.
I move that we approve the bills as presented and payment be authorized.
Second.
Bob and Adam tied to second Larry's motion to approve and pay the bills.
Mayor, can you decide who's going to be second for my notes?
We'll make Bob, he was louder.
Okay. Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Moving on to old business. Discussion of creating a DDA. I did have Devin email you just yesterday or this morning, I forget now, but very recently, the response that we got from Attorney English regarding the rest of the answers to the questions. So I don't know that we can really discuss that since you just got it. So if it's okay, council, I'd like to move that to next month's meeting for discussion.
You have my consent.
Yes.
Okay with that.
So we'll move that. And along with that, the possible workshop for DDA, we'll move that to March 4th. And we'll move the possible approval for CIB to show DDA estimate because that can't be done without the discussion and determining where boundaries would be and so on. So all three of those items will move to March 4th meeting. So that brings us down to the old business topic of a discussion concerning zoning violation recommendations. And once again, we did get a response from the attorney, but it just came in. So I'm sure you haven't had time to read it. I did let Leland Scott, our zoning administrator, know that we did have a response. And I did go over it briefly with him and gave him a copy as well. But again, it's quite involved, and I think maybe we'll need more time to read it through, soak it in, decide how you want to, or how, decide how to approach it or not to approach it. But again, do you want to discuss that tonight based on your thoughts, or would you also like to move that to the next meeting?
I would like to leave there's no action taken.
Okay, so
It's a very consensus.
Adam's suggesting no action taken, so it would stay on the agenda for next month. Is that good with everybody?
One question for the Finance and Ordinance Committee members
Yeah.
is I did email a copy of the Shiawassee County zoning ordinance, which included their, at least on the books, violation
Yep.
plan. I just wanted to confirm that you did in fact receive that.
I sure did, thank you. If they didn't, they could get hold of you and ask for it.
Right.
Okay, so I believe that brings us through all the items of old business with no action taken on any of them, keeping them on the agenda for next month. Moving on to new business, I would like to ask council if you are in favor of becoming an investor with the SEDP. Since I've come on board here with the city, I see the SEDP doing a lot, bringing a lot of information for businesses, and not just that, but just general information. They send us updates on COVID vaccination, a lot of other things. And I've seen representation from the SEDP here at many of the meetings because of our ongoing DDA investigation. It just seems to me that they've done quite a bit to reach out to the city of Perry, but I know in the past, for whatever reason, City of Perry was an investor with the SEDP with a ongoing support payment, and then it was stopped, and I don't know exactly why, but it's been a few years now, and I'm just wondering if you would all be in favor of becoming a $500 investor. Any discussion on that?
$500 a year.
Yes.
I was wondering the difference in what we already receive now for like, because I know we get a lot of email
Yeah.
information like that. Would there be even more provided? As far as that type of information?
I really don't think there would be more provided, because we get a lot. I mean,
Yes.
and we don't even forward all of it, we get
Yes.
so much. But my thought is, we're getting an awful lot, and we're not vested or
Yes.
invested in the program. I feel like we're kind of piggybacking on other people who are invested in the program. For example, and I don't think I sent this to you because I just got it yesterday. This is from the SEDP, specifically from Justin, and it's just an email or a press release, really, talking about grants, a Michigan Small Business Survival Grant Program that has provided money to 31 companies in Shiawassee County. And this money was just awarded in the last week or so. 31 $15,000 grants were awarded across Shiawassee County, including Corunna, Durand, Langsburg, Owasso, Perry, Bancroft, New Lothrop, and Vernon. Now, the money came from the state, but the SEDP got the applications and helped people fill out their applications, made sure that the small businesses were aware of the program available and so on. For this particular grant, the priority industries were food service establishments such as restaurants and bars, coffee, bakeries, catering, and so on. Scoring for awarding of that grant was based on several factors. It says here, priority points given to target industries, such as the ones I just read, an actual ability to show revenue loss in actual dollars and as a percentage of year-over-year loss, the number of years that they've been in business and the number of employees that they had. So this is a program that was available through the state of Michigan, but truly hand-fed to the small businesses in Shiawassee County because of SEDP. And again, I just feel like we're getting a benefit for free. And they, I think they deserve at least our support. $500 a year. We could adjust it in the future if we felt like we should, but I think at least by paying $500, we're saying thank you for what you've done.
Do we have any idea how many of our businesses are participating financially right now? In other words, that have signed up as partners or anything with the,
I didn't ask that question.
Okay. I think, I'm personally in favor of it, simply we're showing our support as a city for our businesses, whether they have or have not currently participating themselves.
I know that Tom Bridges is. I know that because he told me that when we had a phone conversation or an email conversation. So there's one, because he now is just located here in Perry, the attorney. Yes, Mindy?
I was just gonna mention that I've wondered if some of the information that we get from them could be put on our website. There's been a lot of stuff for COVID and helping the businesses and even the information about vaccines
Yep.
and like that maybe it'd be useful for people.
Devin, can you explain to her what we have done? Because we have started to do that.
Awesome.
So Mr. Lambert had a conversation with me, and what I am trying to do is to keep things up temporary, but soon. So you could overload the information that we're getting from the state and from at the SEDP. And so when I do get some valid points on COVID, now I haven't started on the business angle yet, but it would just be one sentence and a link to, I would make a PDF of maybe the information that is there. And that's where I'm kind of looking forward to the business and technologies, maybe a procedural type of thing is, so how long is too long? You know, when does it become outdated? Now with the COVID, I put one item up and then I got new updated information just at the health department, between the health department and Memorial. I'm also getting emails from them on COVID. So again, if you have insight on stuff, or you would see that something, because the mayor's seen something for the businesses today, and I said, I have so much traffic into it, some of these key points I don't catch on, because, I mean, it's a lot. Just tell me, you know, and we can do it. So she did a mass email to communicate with the businesses. Because of our business registration, we request that information so that we as mayor, council, police department, DPW can either by emergency get a hold of them and we keep their information private, and or through the businesses. That was the other purpose that it was set for. So we had a mass email go out on that direction. So again, if you highlight something and throw it my way and say this seems to be particular to our community and help on that, I'll respond received and get on it, or I'll state thank you, which, you know, something in respect. So you guys know that I at least say received so that you know, because sometimes I get interrupted and instead of making a conversation, I at least acknowledge it. So I guess I'm encouraging, if you see something, it's going to be a one sentence click on here, the community can see on the home page if they would click on it. It is what we are doing. Now we do have Facebook to utilize too. Facebook needs a JPEG though, they don't take PDFs, but that could be done too. And again, if you see pertinence to it, throw that information. And the biggest thing is we're going to have to define of how accurate is that, how long should it stay up? And so I'm looking forward to that conversation once we get farther on that. But yes, we've been doing some COVID things, new things come up. I just put new information that's pertinent on there, and it's a judgment call. So if you see something that I've missed at this point, and I only say that because Dory is out of the office, so right now I am helping on the website at this time.
The email that we sent out today was concerning some webinars that are available for small businesses. Get Your Local Business on Search and Maps webinar. There's an Entrepreneur Toolbox, resources for funding your business, preparing to do business with the federal government, First Children's Finance and CARES Act services, another toolbox, Resilient People and Organization, Who Bounces Back. And these are all webinars because of the COVID situation, but I just thought a lot of our small businesses would benefit from some of those, you know, getting online and getting that information. So,
Can I may add for the SEDB, just a note about them? Justin Horvath, I've been experienced with different mayors and such for 15, just under 15 years now. And I believe right now Justin Horvath is, even though the city has backed off on being an investor, out of courteous and the history has continued our emails, because you can see that's part of the package. I think he was comfortable that we work a lot. My experience is that the city does not have a lot of land or empty empty buildings for them to really sell. But I will tell you, I am looking forward to be able to use the job postings that they have. I'm not comfortable with us not being an investor to offer that. They have a Facebook, and that gets a lot of hits. It's a constant of the whole Shiawassee community of all jobs and all sorts. And the other part of it is kudos to, we did tax abatements for Olive Branch several years ago. And the clerk, according to law, had to set it up and sign all the documents. And basically, I just typed it and repeated it. Justin Horvath held my hand through the whole thing. So, in different things that we might be able to even offer our businesses, tax abatement being one, it is kind of complicated, and there are more than one ways of going about it depending on the business. That's my experience with Justin Horvath, along with, of course, when he's close by, he's always there to help us out when it comes to working with the township and different things like that, that he's there to answer questions.
I move that we authorize payment to the Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership for an amount not to exceed $500 to receive SEDP benefits.
Second.
There is motion, Adam second, for a $500 investment with SEDP. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Our next new business item is concerning the Keep It Flowing water policy. And it's not a big deal, but we've had at least one person contact us about donating money to a business's water bill, which I think is very nice, very generous. But our letter that, or our policy, I guess it should be called, our Keep It Flowing policy, says that it is a program that was developed to be a vehicle to allow those wishing to assist others by making a payment on a City of Perry water bill. But it says in our policy, a resident's water bill. So I think just to avoid conflict or an issue, that perhaps amending that to say on a City of Perry utility bill, not specifying resident. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's only open to the City of Perry residents, correct?
That's what the policy
Currently.
says now, and I'd like to open it to businesses also by removing the word resident.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry, I missed that. You want to be able to help the business, like the restaurants or whoever,
Right.
and with it saying residents, you don't think we can?
Well, that, it
It's a
just,
gray area.
yeah, makes it a gray area.
For the businesses, are you going to put a limit because they could have a very high water bill?
No,
You know,
I don't.
average residence is $100, let's say.
Right, yeah,
The business could be $1,000.
that could be. But some of them are 200, you know, it's, and even if somebody's just giving $25, if they want to help pay that business's water bill, they're just going to pay it to the city and say, I'd like this money to go toward
To so-and-so
this
or what's one.
restaurant's water bill. But right now it says resident, so I'd like to remove the word resident and just make it payment on a City of Perry utility bill.
I'm fine with that.
I move that we approve the amendment to the Keep It Flowing policy as presented by clerk.
Second.
Moved by Mindy, seconded by Larry, to make that change as discussed to the Keep It Flowing policy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. The possible adoption of resolution for MDOT grant agreement. That information is in your packet. Is there discussion concerning this?
That was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot of stuff.
Like what?
Told you I was gonna give you everything.
One you have to drink coffee while you're reading it. This would be a resolution to approve a contract between the city of Perry and MDOT for the resurfacing and site restoration. When we've talked about it before, Don has brought that to us.
This is the topic John talked about last
Correct.
time, I believe.
Yes. Are we ready to make a motion adopting that resolution or no?
If I remember it, that money was in his budget. Wasn't there, he budgeted the money for the improvements?
Yeah, this is just to approve the contract that he talked about before.
I move a resolve to accept, or to approve contract number 20-5485 between the City of Perry and the Michigan Department of Transportation for the resurfacing and site restoration along East Polly Street, South Madison Street, West Orchard Street, West First Street, and Horace Street, Scarlet Oak Lane, East Kinney Street, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract on behalf of the city.
Second.
So we have a motion by Adam, a second by Bob for the motion as read. And we have a roll call vote for that motion. Okay?
You don't need a
We
roll call.
don't need to do a roll
Everybody's
call.
here.
All right. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 So the motion is approved, so we will take care of that. Very good. Now, we come to the last item of new business on our agenda today, and that's concerning an item that came to our attention as council from John earlier, well, the end of the week, last week. And it concerns a need to do some managerial restructuring in the Department of Public Works. We need to have someone else in addition to John in the department that is able to give some good assistance. I wrote this down, so pardon me for reading it, but I didn't want to miss saying any of the things that I think support this idea. Information has come from the superintendent of our DPW regarding a need for managerial restructuring. This involves many major projects coming up for the DPW, in addition to the ongoing maintenance and upkeep of our water, sewer, roads, and fire hydrants. There's also the need to apply for grants to help fund projects. Consideration of creating a new deputy DPW superintendent position is needed. So I'm asking if council would consider assigning review of this matter to the Personnel Standing Committee. They could evaluate and report back to council at the March 4th council meeting with any recommendations. Or if you want to discuss it tonight, some of you, I think all of you, have been aware, so have been giving it some thought. And if you are ready to take action on it, certainly we can take action. But what's your pleasure concerning that?
I've had a chance to talk to John. And in my opinion, I think it's probably best to just move forward with the deputy superintendent. I mean, because in reality is, in my opinion, you should be doing this with every position anyway, that's, especially leadership. None of us know, we don't have the privilege of knowing if we're going to go out and get in a car wreck or get sick, somebody quits, somebody gets fired, whatever the case may be, and you need somebody to be able to step into those roles seamlessly. This is one way of doing it, and the reality is you pay for what you get, and I think it's when it comes to public works and utilities and stuff, I personally will not disparage that that stuff's gonna be done. And it's gonna be done right. So I guess that being said, you guys can do what you want, but I will move that the city create a new deputy DPW superintendent position, which shall be full-time position with benefits.
Second.
But we can discuss it, I guess.
Yeah, you should.
We have a motion and second regarding a new deputy DPW superintendent position to create that.
I had some comments before we voted.
Okay, we have discussion. Bob?
Pursuant to the latest communication from John, I don't know if a deputy superintendent would fulfill his issues. He may be that deputy superintendent. I don't think he really wants to be, from reading that, talking to him, I got a different feel. To reading this, I get a little bit different. So we may want to look for a superintendent and him as deputy. We can't, my opinion is that he is an invaluable resource to the city.
Absolutely.
He cares so much about our workings and infrastructure. It's amazing. So,
In regard, though, to the motion that's on the table at this time, whether we hire a new superintendent, we still need a new deputy superintendent position. That's, the motion is to create that new deputy superintendent position. So the motion on the floor is the creation.
to create
of
that.
position.
Okay, so the motion is just to
Just to create.
create the position, okay.
I think in looking
Thank
at
you.
it,
Thank you for the clarification.
You could put somebody else in that.
Right, okay.
I can look at a couple of the major projects that we've got coming at the city here, and within the next couple of years, it certainly makes a lot of sense that we proceed with at least getting the position established. John was in here and talked about the water tower review and the major activity that's going to have to be undertaken when that project gets started. We've got a joint activity with Perry Township right now coming at us with the water activity there. So those are above and beyond the normal grants and other maintaining what we have today. So I clearly think that
We also have coming up the state mandated replacement of lead pipes that has to be accomplished, I think, by 2025. So I mean, there are many major things, and to put all that on one person who is a working superintendent. I mean, he's not the superintendent that just sits at his desks and waves his magic wand for everybody to do something. He's a working superintendent. So I think we, again, need to fall back on Adam's motion to create a new position of deputy DPW superintendent. Is there more discussion concerning that motion? Okay, then let's take a vote. All those in favor of creating that as Adam proposes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, continuing discussion and about how to approach advertising and job postings and job descriptions. We do have a standing committee called Personnel. Yeah, I know you are. My thought would be, again, open for discussion, but my thought would be to assign that to our standing committee and get some of that squared away, and also looking at the pay scale, looking at what we can do with that. Joe?
Can I make a suggestion? Michigan Municipal League, who has done all the research for like wages for different positions, for different jobs. They have listings for job descriptions they're a really wealth of information, and it's a great resource. especially when you're creating a new position or trying to fill it. They can help with the job posting.
Good information,
But yeah,
thank you.
Michigan Municipal League.
Okay. So do we have a consensus to assign that to our standing committee personnel?
Just one comment.
Yes.
That would be, that we need to make certain that the committee can proceed with some sense of urgency in terms of, being able to get together and come back with some recommendations, hopefully by our next meeting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Standing committee, there's a sense of urgency to this. If we could at least have a report back by the March 4th meeting as to job description and starting postings for the position.
You do have an example of a job description tonight. John just asked that maybe there might be some amendments to it, and that was used from resources. 2 municipalities I found that seemed to be similar of what John had shared with me on what that would do. So you got that tonight, a job description.
In here. And John has indicated a willingness to sit with the committee to help with all of that. Whatever portion you want him involved in or not.
Okay.
You're not finding it, Linda? Okay.
So shall we move that on to standing committee? I don't know if we need a motion to do that or if we can just all nod our heads and say yes. We can nod our heads and say yes. Okay, good. So that's moved on to assignment to the standing committee with report expected back by the March 4th meeting. Thank you for expressing your reaction to John's reaching out. That meant a lot to him. I'll just say that. Any other business that may come before council at this time? I don't have any. Devin, do you have any?
Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak under public comment at this time? You can please unmute or raise your hand. Zoom seems quiet.
Okay, so we don't have any Zoom people. Joe, you got anything for us?
Nope, just taxes, you have until the 28th of February to pay your taxes with the penalty. And then my books are going over to the county on the 1st of March. Also, if you haven't got your dog licenses and you need one, they're here until February 28th.
So we'll move on to council discussions and observations. Larry, do you have any observations for us? How about you, Mindy? Nope. Anybody else? Bob?
I do, I just wanted to say, in general, I think most residents did a wonderful job clearing their city sidewalks. I took the dog for a walk yesterday, and most of it I didn't have to trudge through snow. There was a few, so if you haven't done your city sidewalk, please do that. Also, if you live on a corner and you have a crosswalk, it's your responsibility to clear that crosswalk. So, thank you who've done it, and everyone else knows who they are.
Very good. Adam, any comments you have? Just
No comment.
okay. Any agenda items for the next meeting? Make sure you get those to Devin. Our meeting is now adjourned at 7:47.